So in the video, it says, if you need us, you can request our assistance through this little invocation. And the invocation said, I, and then you place your name there. So it's I, Devin Davidson, light worker of Earth, do request Pleiadean assistance now. If you call on these beings with a pure heart, really wanting change and for the betterment of humanity, it can't just be some selfish, egotistical act. I think
Hmm.
your resonance really has a lot to do with it. But if you come from this place, they will assist you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the new Being Hypnosis channel. Thank you for joining me. For newcomers, if you enjoy this content, please do consider liking and subscribing. Also, it helps to share these videos, perhaps on your social media channels, and that helps this channel to grow and get our fantastic healing knowledge out. So, my name is Troy J. Bacon, and I'm a certified and licensed hypnotherapist, as well as a Reiki practitioner. Um, just about to finish my Reiki mastership. I am an ethereal engineer. I help people on mostly the spiritual and mental and emotional levels transmute trauma into light so that then they can recover more of who they truly are, live their best life, and also recover their soul's purpose and recover their spiritual abilities, perhaps evolve in that way too, if they're ready. So today, we'll be talking about Pleiadean and Sirian and Starseed, um, also interstellar healing knowledge that my guest Devan and I are familiar with. She will be talking about mostly Pleiadean, possibly some Lyran healing techniques and knowledge, and what those are like, as well as I'll be talking about the Sirian healing knowledge that I know, perhaps some others if I think of them, but so then we'll be talking about how we actually implement these knowledge um, particles and techniques into our practice and how that can help people, help you, and what that's like. So, Devin, let's get into it. How about you tell everyone again about your business, also the unique name of your business and what you do?
Yeah, for sure. So, hello, welcome in everyone. My name is Devin Davidson. I am also a certified licensed hypnotherapist and Reiki practitioner. And I also do divination and enjoy reading tarot and helping people uncover things in this way. Um, my name of my business is called Divine Interventions. It sounds like interventions, but it's inner, INNER, ventions. And that was just a name that was completely like channeled when I was looking for a unique name, was being that my name's Devin. So I spelled divine with a DEVINE. So yeah, anybody that is interested, feel free to check me out on YouTube or Divine Interventions or on Facebook at Devin Davidson.
Very well. So, for those of you who are a bit newer, perhaps to Pleiadian and Starseed groups, let's talk a bit about what and who the Pleiadians and also Sirians and Lyrans are, and how they're really relevant to Earth and humanity.
Yeah, so I feel like there's many groups of intergalactic beings that are here and are available for us to connect with in many different planes of existence. I I personally have had encounters. The most um, the ones that I talk about the most, at least, are with the Pleiadians. And that was actually a physical experience. It was very strange. And I also see the Lyrian beings often. But yeah, there's many groups, and we're able to connect with them with our intention. And it does take, for at least in my experience, it takes for you to be of a certain mindset and to be able to access, some of these other realms. But I do feel like we can all communicate with them through intention, through our will, and through a pure heart. I think that really has a lot to do with it. Because these beings are very high vibrational, and your vibration kind of needs to be up there in order to be able to see these things. You know what I mean, Trey?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So yeah, they're there. There's so many of them, and I don't know if you wanted to talk about, some of the ones that you are most familiar with. I know the Pleiadians, as far as looks go, um, from what I've channeled, the Pleiadians were the ones with the blonde hair, tall, pale skin, and the Lyrian bands cannot be, you can't miss them because they literally, and there's different forms. Some of them that I've seen, some of them are actually like lions, and others are lion beings with the humanoid body and the lion face. I know I think the Sirians are the blue, right? Are the Sirians blue? Or is that Arcturians? I get them
Um,
mixed.
Arcturians normally are depicted as having blue skin. I think there are
Okay,
actually two or three different types of Arcturians that I've become familiar with.
there's so many.
Yeah, yeah, there are. And so yeah, what I want to say about some of these Starseed groups is a lot of people put the Pleiadian, Sirian, Arcturian, and so forth stamp on each group and say they belong to them. But really, with each star and each star cluster as we see them, there can be many different planets, each being native as the origins to perhaps each race. And um, so it's not just one and that's done. It's like, especially with a star system like Sirius with two or three different suns um, that harbor different planets. There are many different types. Sirians, um, I've lived as the human looking type of Sirian. Very human, although back when I was them about 2.8 million years ago in our time, um, their type, I think, is just a slightly longer type of face. I think slightly different, but very human looking. I've also, I know, lived as some of the aquatic Sirians who are, I think, Sirius B, a
Okay.
planet that's mostly water. Um, so there's a lot of fish life and fish people too on that and in that ocean planet.
That definitely
Um,
resonates. Yeah.
yeah, um, those are the two main types of Sirians that seem to visit us and interact with us. There may be perhaps another type or two. So yeah, the aquatic Sirians I think are often similar to mermaids, some of
Okay.
them.
Yep.
Some people have described the aquatic Sirians also as just being basically whales and dolphins.
I had them appear as seals in my
Yeah,
dream.
I
Yeah.
think it's kind of a lot of different aquatic types too from that planet. Some claim that these aquatic beings that we know on Earth, whales, dolphins, seals, and others probably were brought here and were brought here, especially the whales and dolphins, because they have such high vibrational energy that is naturally very resonant and respectful of humans.
They hold the codes.
Yeah, I've heard that they're also like record keepers of
Yes.
human and Earth history.
And you can connect with them as well. And actually, I don't know if I should even say that because it's actually illegal. to connect telepathically with whales and dolphins.
Is that marked as illegal these days?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, we do it anyway. So, yeah, also whales are interesting to me because they're the only species I know of that sleeps, I think, upright and does like this harmonic vibratory thing when they're vertical. And I think it's kind of like they're like tuning forks of the earth, I
Yeah,
suspect.
that makes sense. The echo, yeah.
So, yeah, that's a few different types of Sirians. Um, I want to say also about Pleiadians. I know there are a few different types. Some appear to be much more ethereal as they visit humans. Some are very much flesh and blood looking, but perhaps have very angelic energy, I've heard. I think because they have a lot more of their energy, body, and divinity awakened um, to allow just much more divinity around them and emanating from them than most humans these days on Earth. I think there are also blue-skinned Pleiadians, if I'm correct. My
Yep.
walkout had a lifetime specifically with the blue-skinned Pleiadians around
And
Alcyone.
I think there's been a lot of intermingling, so
I suspect so.
yeah.
And so also um Ple the Pleiades people and Sirians and Arcturians too, I think the Lyran humans as well. They had complicated history. Some of them were involved in galactic wars, especially with the Draco, that then
Yep.
some of their planets were also destroyed, and at times they were forced to migrate to other planets and star systems. And so they've had some literal just intermingling of their races too and migrations.
Absolutely. That's you hit it on the head there. I forgot what I was gonna say. Dang it.
Um, what I want to also say is that one of the reasons that they visit us, these star people groups, and teach us their much more evolved healing knowledge and also just ways of life and various things.
Technology. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
is because um, their planets have already reached their planetary ascension status and become a cohesive, unified sphere, basically, with their people. Um, and that's what happens with planets, from my understanding, especially with evolved um, people like humans and evolved races, is that we reach this status eventually. And when that happens, the grid of that planet then becomes like the next evolution of it and a complete whole. And so they come here because their planets and suns are interconnected, and because really, in truth, humans on Earth are not completely just native and evolutions of apes from this planet.
No.
Um, there we may have some ape and primate DNA, but really humans are, I believe, intergalactic royalty, kind of hybrids of Pleiadians, Sirians, perhaps some Arcturians I've heard, and other ET groups have contributed to our evolution. I've heard that some human groups are actually originally from other star systems, not even from Earth, but
Hmm.
have just become native to this planet now.
Yep. I think, and the I pulled a couple cards. The first card that I pulled was Earth School.
Oh, beautiful. I have that deck too. Um,
uh, yeah, I love this deck. Yeah. So I mean, that's what we're here for, right? We're like a mixing pot of these galactic beings, and we come here and hopefully have a spiritual awakening and remember who we are. And I think that's really um getting to the bottom of it is we're here to remember, who we are at a soul level.
Exactly. Um, Also, since my walk-in, shortly after my walk-in, I started awakening to an affinity of Egypt and Egyptian spirituality. And oh, lovely. With that card out too. I love it.
Yeah.
So, one thing I want to say about what I've always intuitively felt about Egypt in my soul and Egyptian spirituality, and also it's not based on this, but I've read into it, and there's connections of Egypt to Sirius. The star Sirius is the brightest in the night sky, and it was very central to their cosmology. Different
Yes.
ways I can perhaps describe that in another video. It's a bit complex, but um, I just know in my soul that the Sirians actually were some of the spiritual teachers of the Egyptians,
Oh,
and I have recalled in my past lives around Sirius, especially Sirius A, that the Sirians have temples that are very similar to the Egyptian pyramids and sacred Egyptian
sure.
temples, like in layout and form and function too, as basically ascension chambers, healing chambers. And so that's a bit complex. Some of it's coded to get into for the initiates, but also, yeah, basically the Syrians taught the Egyptians, I believe, or had a major role in that. Although I also have a suspicion that other ET groups had a play in Egyptian history based on depictions that we see.
Yeah, and I mean like the Sumerians and the Babylonians, and there's many stories of the those coming from the skies. Um
Yes,
yeah. Inky and
yeah.
a little, I mean, yeah.
A bit
It
more
gets
about Pleiadians, I want to say on that note is that it seems that almost every single ancient tradition has some sort of Pleiadian story um, or significance of the Pleiades star cluster.
Oh yeah, and there's even what that reminds me of. I was watching on one of my favorite YouTube channels, Leak Project, and he has this gentleman. I can't think of his name, but he's got several videos with him, and this guy has been decoding these star maps his whole life. This is an older gentleman, and
Hmm.
all of star maps of, and he says the same thing that you're saying right now. Serious. That's what they all. There's many throughout all our art and I'll have to send it to you sometime because yeah, I think you're hitting it right on the head there.
That's lovely. So I want to say also about something kind of specific that my walkout learned when he was in New Zealand in 2018 is that first of all, he would often see in the night sky when he was down there the Pleiades constellation upside down. Of course, the constellations all look upside down there in the southern hemisphere. But in the Maori tradition of New Zealand, they say, or they have a significance with the Pleiades that I think there was some connection that people came from there, or that they have a few different stories, but essentially the Maori name for the Pleiades is Mata Riki or Mata Ariki. There's, I think, two different um, phonetic variations of it, and one of them translates to little eyes. The other translates to little eyes of God.
Hmm.
And so that just already speaks the significance of the Pleiades cluster specifically, which is very faint actually in the night sky if you can see it all compared to a lot of other stars. But yeah, they just know that there's a connection from the Pleiades to Earth.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's found everywhere. I think that's a big key right there.
It is.
Um,
So, Devin, do you have more to say about the Pleiades right now?
I do.
Let's get into
I just
that.
wanted to talk about the experience that I had with the Pleiadians. Um, so this was probably 2018, I want to say, and what happened is I was watching a YouTube channel. I think it's called Higher Self. I think that was the name of it. And basically it's this accumulation of a bunch of people who channel, messages from, the beings. And there was this one channeling, and it was from the Pleiadians. And in the channeling, it said, if you need our assistance, and I felt like they were talking right to me, if you need our assistance, and which at that point I was at a pretty low part in my life. I was in active addiction. And that was really where I was struggling with, because I knew I didn't want to. I had started meditating in 2017. I was really trying. But so in the video, it says, if you need us, you can request our assistance through this little invocation. And the invocation said, I, and then you place your name there. So it's I, Devin Davidson, light worker of earth, do request Pleiadian assistance now. And what I did was I wrote it down on a piece of paper, and then I said it out loud a few times, really feeling it. And then I remember my front door was open, the screen was shut, and I sat down in my recliner, which was right there next to the door, and I went into meditation. And probably not that long, maybe 15, 20 minutes in, I was in a pretty good state. And I hear my door open. But I couldn't open my eyes. Like I just felt this presence. And all of a sudden in my mind's eye, I feel this like electric bolt, like almost like a shock, but didn't hurt. And I saw, like one of those machines with beep, 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 beep with the
Mm-hmm.
lines. That's what I saw in my mind's eye. And then I heard my door shut. And I know for a fact it was open when I know this sounds crazy coming, but after that day, and I went into a deep trance for like 4 hours. I was just, gone. And time flew. And that night, I was able to flush all my crap, and I never looked back. Um, so yeah, it was. I wish I would have opened my eyes, or I would have because I swear the door was actually shut after. And I know it sounds crazy, but it literally happened. It literally, if you call on these beings with a pure heart, really wanting change and for the betterment of humanity, it can't just be some selfish, egotistical act. I think
Mm-hmm.
your resonance really has a lot to do with it. But if you come from this place, they will assist you. Uh,
They will. And yeah, the Sirians and other groups like Arcturians are that way too. You have to call on them and also have a pure, sincere heart that's resonant and respectful of them.
mhm.
So, what do you think that image of the um
It's like life force,
okay,
you
kind of
know.
representing where you're at in your life force right now
I don't know.
at that
That's
time?
what comes to mind, though. Like, here's life.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
Well, that's quite an experience, especially that they were able to open the door physically and come
yeah,
in.
yeah. I saw right around that time, probably a couple weeks before, I saw a ship right over my house, a large. It came right straight down over my house, right? And I had a girlfriend here at the time. I looked at her, she's looking at me. Are you seeing this? Just big ass circle like you would see in a movies with lights, and it was big. It was bigger than my house. At least that's how it appeared to me. And then this fear, even though I've been, connecting with these beings, it wasn't anything in my control, but my body caught this like tension. It's like when they say, our resonances are so different, so our body reacts. But as soon as that fear set in, they were gone. They were gone faster than just took off. And almost like they sensed the fear and didn't want to, scare me.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So how have you since learned and implemented Pleiadian healing techniques and knowledge, and how's that helped you?
I definitely, ever since that experience with, them in my house or whatever the heck that was, I definitely have felt a whole shift in my whole blueprint. As far as healing techniques, I would attribute the ones that I have learned the most from to the Lyrans. Um, the Lyrans I connect with all the time, and really, what I'm on, like, as of the latest, is healing in the astral. So learning to really perfect, getting there, and then connecting with others, and heal it. And they've shown me that healing in these realms is possible, and not only possible but very effective as well. So it does take a lot, though. I've been practicing a lot, but it's something you can't push or force. You just kind of got to go with the flow.
Yeah, that's true. Especially astral level healing, like actual astral does
Yeah,
take some practice.
yeah.
Um, it's not something that everyone can just do right away. Few people have probably done it in past lives and such, seem to be able to do it very naturally. It just happens. But
What about you?
that, so for me, I'll tell a little bit about my Syrian lineage and stories and healing practices. So after my walk-in, I was taking a nap after an exhausting work day and being kind of short of sleep, and it was the also the day that I was going to go out with my then girlfriend, now wife though, with her family for a birthday dinner, and that was a few days before her actual birthday. But I was taking a nap, and then I had meditation music playing on the TV from YouTube, and that's how I meditate a lot is with music on.
Mhm.
Um, so then I woke up, and it was a few hours later, and as I was waking up, though, I wasn't like fully awake. I fully remembered an extremely vivid dream. I've never had one like it, I think, since either. It was just a few months after my walk-in, and it was a dream. I won't go into the whole dream, but it was basically like I felt like I was completely looking through the eyeballs of a different person, but I also knew it was me, and I knew what was happening. And essentially, I was in an alien spaceship cockpit looking out the windows, but observing the enemy ships. And there's a bit more to that dream. I had to then go back into it and reinvestigate it. Um, but I learned that that was a very powerful moment in that lifetime of mine, a very pivotal moment in which I had led a mission that ended up ending the war with Sirius A and the Draco. Because I was basically the equivalent of a Space Force general, leading the, I think that'd be called something different in that um, that Sirius planet, but basically Space Force, defending the planet and system with our space technologies. And um, so that was powerful. And then it was, I think shortly after that, I was also in a meditation, but I just naturally and organically became aware of an energy above my head. And so then in the meditation, I tuned in and sort of felt and looked up at what was above me. And it looked like a big circle, a really large circle, kind of like a portal though. And so I
Like,
looked up
or
through it and I saw and felt in the meditation lots of clouds, but illuminated by rainbow light. And so then in the meditation, I was guided to bring this rainbow cloud portal down to my crown and down around me and to my feet. And so that was like the first time I used this healing technology that I call the Soul Star portal. It's my signature technique. I've come up with several bunch of different ways, really, of altering it and customizing it and um, adding different details to it, depending on what people need and what's appropriate. But it's really, I found it incredibly powerful technology. I had never heard of anything quite like it on Earth. I was never taught that. And I'm really sure I just haven't remembered the lifetime it came from or anything like that, but I just have a sense in my soul that it comes from Sirius. And so
Mhm.
that's one of my extraterrestrial interstellar healing technologies
Sounds
that
amazing.
actually when after I started learning hypnosis too, I started working with clients and I developed that portal into actually an induction technique too. And so like induction slash energy healing.
Sweet.
So that's like one of my healing techniques. Also, one of the existences and natures in me that I also awakened to, I think it was last year, um, is the water being, um, aquatic being type of Sirian from Sirius B that I had lifetimes with. And there was that energy. And so those aquatic beings are not just basically fish beings and fish people like mermaids. Um, they're highly advanced. I suspect that the mermaids on this planet in our oceans may have had some origins or influence. Maybe they came from Sirius B at some point, just like supposedly the whales and dolphins. But yeah, they're highly advanced spiritually. And so I started to awaken, especially as I was practicing Reiki, um, developed my own signature techniques and tested them of basically casting large water bubbles around myself and others of water, like watery energy, but then charging that large water bubble with Reiki light. And so then the whole bubble is like a whole Reiki bubble. And um, so, yeah, that's another type of healing that I do is water and light energy.
The inner earth beings. So
I love that.
that's what came to mind when you're talking about, advanced beings in the water, inner earth.
It could be, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're all around us here, just these advanced beings. Some people are still debating about if these ETs are real and if they're visiting us, why don't we see them? It's because a lot of them are literally living in other dimensions.
Yep.
Like the energy that they have evolved to, the spiritual energy they've cultivated and as a race completely. And um, a lot of them have this technology. I think it's an organic part of like the natural ether around us, probably, but they just live in a different energy density that is, I think, beyond the violet light spectrum. A lot of them are still very physical around
And
us.
there are power points. That's what this card talks to. The portals, certain areas of our Earth have these vortexes, and Mount Shasta is a big one. When I went there, I was able to connect with the beings of Telos that live in the mountain there. So I mean, there's certain spots where if you visit them, you can connect. And not to say that you can't any other time, because you can. However, their energy is just more potent in certain areas, and then the crystalline grid activates you once you go there.
Yes, exactly. And a lot of these star people, especially the ones who come in ships and are very physical, but also phased out of how we would see them normally, if they were to be in more of a three-dimensional um, wavelength. They
And I think
live, they
stars
live,
has something to do with it too.
yeah, they do. And I want to say that they live under and around mountainous areas. They live underground in bases. A lot of them, like in Shasta and other mountainous areas, like Mount Adams too, I've been to a lot. Um, those areas are just natural, very pure, high vibrational healing energies, also where Sasquatch beings and fairies and other beings live. They hide there basically because they're fairly remote, harder to live in and get to for humans. Um, and so they they have these actual cities too, some of them underground in these mountainous areas. Also, I
Yeah.
think under the oceans. My Seraphim guide I've been channeling
That's what,
recently um, gave the prophecy that in the coming years, as we finish this change period, and there's going to be a solar flash that will bop everyone on the head and cause a greater collective awakening for humanity, that there'll be a time as humans put down our armaments that these star people will deem themselves as um, ready to start appearing from the mountains and seas.
hmm, that would be
And,
so cool.
and we will see that eventually when there's enough readiness and um, awareness cultivated and just when certain individuals as well as later the collective is more ready, we will see them start to just they'll come from other places too, but largely emerge from the mountains and seas where they've been all this time waiting for us.
Yeah, that would be definitely amazing. I know I've also had past lives remembrances of being on ships with many different types of beings. I was actually an ant being, um, the one I'm recalling, and driving this ship. And it's strange. I'm always driving a ship because I have such a this weird urge to drive a ship. But yeah, there's many different kinds of beings. So yeah, I think you're on point.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting. It seems like there's humanoid types of each animal, even insect that is in the animal kingdom somewhere out there.
Hmm. Isn't that cool? So crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a deeper mystery of how evolution and life happens. especially for like what we call more evolved beings, um, to reach ascension. Perhaps we can
What if,
get into that
what
in
if
another
we are
video.
like, what if we are the actual ants in some planet? Little human ants.
Well,
The ants are the big beings. Oh my God.
yeah, some beings such as the Draco actually think of us that way as very
Wow.
insignificant little ants compared to them. But um, yeah, this is a convoluted universe we live in. So I want to get back into more of the healing um, focus of these star people. And do you have any further thoughts about how, like, about the healing knowledge and how that can help us?
Yeah, I think the biggest message here is that we can all tap into this energy, and we can all find, I know you said that you were given certain ways of healing. I too I've had like Reiki symbols channeled, quite a few of them that have been very, very powerful. And I think the point is like we can all tap into this if we, desire it. And maybe you can't do it right away, and maybe you need a guide, someone, like you or I, where you can, we activate, something within. But I've had many clients where after, a few sessions, all of a sudden they're able to activate these frequencies as well. So I just say, don't get discouraged. Everybody has this power to connect and to gain your own healing modalities, really. And it's so beautiful how they're distributed in exactly the perfect way for you. Like for you to understand and you to integrate, and to share with the collective as well. But yeah, I mean, we all are able to connect in, and I think it just really boils back to, well, a couple things: your heart, your intention, and also, from these cards that I'm looking at, is, the PowerPoints are significant because we have activated Earth here with Stargate initiation. And so both of these energies are about making yourself available to the activations, to the light codes. And it starts with really centering yourself and coming inside and using your intention and awareness and letting go of all the fear and the lower vibrational densities so that you can get your body attuned to these higher frequencies. There's many people having these experiences. It's really beautiful. It's so healing, and it's available.
It is available, and that's also something I want to comment on and share for everyone is that these are not such exclusive experiences and races. They don't want to exclude people who haven't had contact or understood them before. They actually are highly loving of us. Of course, many of the races, such as the Sirians and Pleiadians, um, even the human Lyrans, also had parts of our planar evolution and basically hybridization of humanity. And so they want to be here and are here as kind of like parents of humanity and show each of us the ways of healing, perhaps that we need and that we're open to, and ways of improving ourselves, ways of healing. Sometimes, if you're beginning in this, kind of like Devan's experience, they might just reflect to an image of where you're at, maybe what you need to be aware of, your health, vitality, parts of your life that need to pay attention to. If you've already refined some parts of your life and awakened a bit, maybe they'll show you the next key, the next healing tool, maybe take you back to a past life you had with them. So yeah, it's really very personal when you start to have these experiences. I've heard all kinds of Starseed experience stories. Are all very different, all very personal, but all laced with divine love, I would say.
Yes.
Another thing about the the availability of this healing energy from and with the star people uh, is that it doesn't have to be something that you'll never experience. You can literally just drive to one of the one of the power points on the earth, such as a mountain. A lot of the mountains are part of these power points on the earth grid. Um,
Or the water.
yes, waters too. Do some research perhaps into what people say, where people go for these healing retreats, and what other starseeds say are very vibrant power points. One of my favorites in Washington State is Mount Adams. You may want to first go with someone who's actually been there and knowledgeable of it. There are some very pure, pristine, sacred spots I've been to there. I've seen all kinds of lights of different colors, not just in the sky, but in the woods. I know there's Sasquatch beings there. I had close encounters and experiences with them. They actually did an induction, I think, ceremony and process with my walkout when he was there in 2018 that I think contributed to then him basically phasing through the tent and going to the Black Triangle for an alien experience, um, or alien contact experience and visitation while he was there for several nights. And yeah, that's powerful. They do that. For souls who are ready, Sasquatch people will do that. Alien
Or
people will do that.
the crop circles, places where there's been crop circles are
Mhm.
also very activated. And there's lots of them, a lot more than you would, if you look at it, there's thousands
Oh
probably.
yeah. Yeah, big area for crop circles is of course the UK.
Hmm.
Some U fields in the UK are like very active areas, I think because of the intersecting waterways under them,
Well,
like
yeah,
underground rivers.
yeah, lots of
Some,
stories. Fairy, the Fae out there, yeah.
yeah, some crop circles though have shown up in America, other countries,
Yep.
um, largely though in areas I think with water under the ground. There's a connection with water and high vibrational spiritual energy.
So
It's like water can be a type of portal, I think, or
yeah,
anchor for a portal.
absolutely.
Yeah, so yeah, sometimes it just takes going to these places and being open to having an experience with a sincere um, heart, sincere, kind, and loving heart.
Hmm.
Um, these people and beings will never show themselves to you just for like film and media purposes that are based on greed and making profits later. Some people claim to do that, and I think there are a few with advanced genetics that have the ability and connection to be able to like call in craft, but these these evolved beings don't want to be part of a show. They're here to help humanity heal and ascend into the next dimension.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's all about meeting them kind of closer to where they're at.
Yep. And and your intention and your will is just so powerful. Just simply maybe going to one of these places and just allowing your mind to come to a calm place and just set the intention, take your shoes off and set the intention to connect and to activate and to receive.
Yes, exactly. Um, Sometimes it helps too for beginners and less experienced people to, and also more experienced too, to go with groups and guides who are perhaps shamanic guides and people who are very much awakened and experienced in this realm of energy healing and Starseed contact too, to go on like tours and camp outs and outings in these areas, and also just it doesn't have to be in these specific areas all the time to have contact.
Guided.
Star people can literally meet you in your house sometimes, but
Yeah.
they're not going to meet you in your house if it's just like a clutter-filled trash heap and you're not taking care of yourself, and there's messy, unpleasant energies going on around you and your home. They usually also don't visit homes, I think, in more sketchy areas, but I'm not saying that's a completely true fact for everyone. But yeah, it's largely about resonating with them, sort of being ready to have contact. There's sometimes protocols and processes you can go through, of readying yourself.
And remembering that it's not always physical with your two eyes. You know,
Hmm.
many of these contacts are happening in other realms within your mind's eye. So,
Exactly. And one of the first ways that star people will start to have contact with anyone is in dreams. And then perhaps when they're ready, waking mental telepathic contact. That's kind of just a way that they tend to prime us for being ready and accepting of them. And then some
yep.
of us who then get to the state later, this doesn't happen with everyone and all the time, but then we'll actually be able to have more waking and aware contact that they remember. It's different for everyone, but
I remember I had this one dream in the beginning of my awakening, and I had been seeing lights in the sky, you know, moving and connecting with me telepathically. But this dream, I'll never forget it because in the dream, there was a ship above my house and they were beaming. There was this huge beam of this light, and it was like a violet pinkish orangish light, and it was huge. Like it was just emanating so potent that I literally got up out of my sleep and went outside to see if there was actually a craft above my house. But yeah, absolutely, they will connect with you and they will send you frequencies as well. So
yeah. Devin, how about you remind everyone about your business and what you do, some of the services you offer, and how you also integrate the Starseed healing energy into your business?
yep. So again, my name is Devin Davidson. It's Devan Davidson. And my business is Divine Interventions. That's DevineInnerventions. And yeah, I work a lot with hypnotherapy, and I like to incorporate Reiki energy healing into my sessions as well. And again, I love to do reading. I love the tarot. It just blows me away every single time. I work a lot with grief. Work a lot with addictions, anxiety, confidence, these type of things. Anything you need motivation with, I'm your girl. Definitely feel free to reach out or connect with any of my social media channels. Um, Love to connect with you. And thank you, Troy, for having me on. It's always such a pleasure to connect with you. It's an honor.
Likewise, and I'll be sure to have that linked up and Devin's information in the description box if you wish to reach out to her. And my business, of course, is Being Hypnosis, the same name as this YouTube channel. I'm an ethereal engineer, and again, a lot of what I do is also hypnotherapy and Reiki, really integrate them together, often provide some Reiki healing within the hypnosis journeys. We go deep into the inner realm. And what I do is transmuting trauma into light. Um, like I said before, I offer multi-session packages for spiritual alchemy. The more we do, the deeper and deeper we go, the further progress you'll go with not only your healing, but then spirit body evolution and recovering and evolving more of your gifts. I also am now offering private seraphim channeled readings and healings. And so that's lovely. I've been channeling my seraphim guide Keziah lately. I'll have the YouTube channel linked up, our Pleiadean reality in the description box for those videos. And in those private sessions, I channel Keziah for you as an individual, and then he gives readings from his 12th dimensional perspective into your life and how to perhaps improve things, shift things, and then also does a light language clearing and healing, and yeah, it can really help shift things from a lovely 12th dimensional energy in your life. Newbeinghypnosis.com is where you can book consultations and sessions. And I wish peace to everyone.
Amazing. Thanks again for having me, Troy.
Thank you, Devan, for coming on, and it's been lovely. I'm sure that we'll be doing this again, and there's a lot more knowledge to be sharing in this field. So take
Yes.
care.
Have a good one, hun. Bye, guys.
Bye for now.